Hey, what's going on? I'm just so proud of this design. The Champion Max has been a huge success. Huh. Have you seen what Neymar's been wearing? No, show me. You thinking what I'm thinking? What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you a video today to discuss Neymar recently being spotted wearing what looks to be the next generation of Mercurials, possibly the Vapor 12, possibly something else. That's what we're going to discuss in today's video. Also, if you guys enjoy the boot spotting series on the channel and would like to see it continue, don't forget to support this video with a like. So what exactly is going on here with what Neymar is wearing? Well, obviously the boots are fully blacked out, which automatically makes a lot of people think that there's going to be some kind of a boot switch or brand switch. And I can assure you, Nike has Neymar locked down, stuck within the Nike brand for quite some time now, and it doesn't seem like Neymar is all that unhappy either. He just got his first signature Mercurial colorway after all. So if he's not switching brands, why are the boots blacked out? Well, that's because it is an upcoming generation of something from Nike. This is not uncommon for Nike with any of their major big name endorsed athletes to give them a pre-production version of whatever they're working on, whatever upcoming model it may be, have them wear them in a training session, then obviously get their feedback, what they like, what they don't like, and they make changes from there until they have a final product that goes into production and eventually gets released to the public. This doesn't necessarily impact what the pros end up wearing after everything is said and done, because they're still gonna get their custom variations of basically whatever they want changed or modified to the shoe. So in that regard, what pros wear and what we're actually able to buy isn't always the same thing, especially in the case of some of these really big names. Messi comes to mind, Cristiano Ronaldo comes to mind. These are guys wearing fairly heavily customized shoes. But in the case of Neymar, this looks to be an upcoming Nike model, and I guess even more specifically, an upcoming Nike Mercurial model. It just has that look to it. Obviously, he is part of the Mercurial line, so it wouldn't be too surprising that they're having him test something upcoming from that particular series of shoes. Now, we did see Cristiano Ronaldo wear some blacked out boots just about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And if you missed my video on that, where I go over all the details on what we can assume and what we can take away information-wise from the shoes we saw him wear, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen. It's a really interesting video. What's interesting about Neymar wearing blacked out boots now is they look to be pretty much exactly the same as what Ronaldo was wearing, but Ronaldo's were mid-cut, and the ones we're seeing Neymar wear in this picture are low cut. So what does that mean for the Mercurial line? Because I definitely do think that this is an upcoming Mercurial generation. Let's talk about that. So why is it important that the boots Neymar is wearing look so similar to the ones we saw Cristiano Ronaldo wear, even though his were mid-cut and Neymar's were low-cut? Well, I think it means, or at least points to the fact, that Nike might be trying to simplify their lineup in terms of their top-end models at least. And we've seen the Hypervenom line as an example of this. Think the Hypervenom Phantom 2 generation. So we had the Phantom 2, which was the mid-cut model, and then we had the Hypervenom Finish as the low-cut model. Which one got most of the attention? The Phantom by far. People actually thought, or I guess people who are uneducated in regards to soccer cleats, they're not super into it, they would assume that the Finish was actually a takedown model of the Phantom 2, even though they were both top-end models. Jump to the current generation of Hypervenoms, the next one, you have the Hypervenom Phantom 3, where guess what? The Finish model went away, or at least the Finish name went away, because essentially what we have is still the exact same situation where you have a low cut and a mid cut version of the same shoe, but now they're labeled Phantom 3 Low and Phantom 3 DF. It's more simple this way, and now people really do consider both shoes to be top end models. Again, we can look at the current Magista lineup, even the first generation of Magistas, where you have the Obra and the Opus. What is by far viewed as the more popular or more high-end model? It's the Obra. People almost overlook the Opus because of the name difference, and we're kind of seeing something to a lesser extent with the Mercurial line. I think the vast majority of the attention ends up being on the Superfly rather than on the Vapor, and obviously Nike is trying to fix that by moving Neymar from the Hypervenoms to the Vapor and really making him the face of the Vapor and leaving Cristiano Ronaldo specifically to the Superfly. That has helped the Vapor 11's case, I would say 100%. But given the fact that launching a brand new shoe basically gives them a fresh start from a marketing perspective, it would not surprise me whatsoever that whatever next generation of Mercurial we're going to get, whether it's called the Vapor 12, whether it's called the Superfly 6, whether it's called something else entirely, which is a strong possibility as well, it'll be a Vapor 12 low and a Vapor 12 DF, or a Superfly 6 low and a Superfly 6 DF. I think that is definitely what they are looking to do with this next generation of Mercurial models. Try to simplify things, basically have a top end model in a low cut and a mid-cut variation, so you have that option, but for the most part, they're going to be the exact same shoe. A few other pieces of information that we can take away from these pictures, because they're a little bit more detailed in terms of the upper than what we saw in the Ronaldo pictures. You can pretty clearly see that the upper on this shoe that Neymar is wearing appears to be Flyknit. Obviously the laces run through the middle, and then that middle part is filled in with elasticated Flyknit, very similar to the design that we have right now with the Superfly 5 and even the recently released limited edition Flyknit Ultra. So that there's no question about it. And because it also looks to be a one-piece upper, I think we can assume that the rest of the upper is also Flyknit, but it's low cut. So what does that mean? I think it might hint to the fact that the next generation of top-end Mercurial models will all be Flyknit. I don't think we're gonna get Teijin synthetic again, or at least a full synthetic Mercurial. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll introduce Teijin synthetic in the first takedown model and it'll be absolutely fantastic, like what we got with the Mercurial Veloce 2. We can be hopeful for that, but I think when it comes to the top end line, if my theory is correct about there being the same model in a low and a mid, I think both of those shoes will be the exact same upper, which will feature a Flyknit base. Now, just like the ones we saw Ronaldo wear as well, the upper does appear to be completely smooth, so it looks like they are ditching the speed rib texturing that we have in the current generation of Mercurials, which I'm honestly not too upset about. I think that's probably my least favorite aspect of the Vapor 11 and the Superfly 5. The speed rib texturing really does nothing for me, and up until those particular Mercurial models, texturing wasn't really much of a thing on the uppers of Mercurials. They've always been relatively smooth. Any kind of texture would be very, very minor. So that not too surprising. Now, if you look really closely at the pictures, you can actually see that there does appear to be some kind of covering. We can assume that's Nike skin. They're not going to change the overall, I guess, construction of materials to make these types of uppers. Obviously the Flyknit base will be different, but I think we can assume the upper is covered in Nike skin, and it looks to have some kind of a streak pattern where you can actually see through these translucent streaks running through the forefoot and toe box area that it looks to be knitted underneath. So again, I think it just proves a point that this does look to be a full Flyknit upper. So we can assume that that is coming from the next generation of Mercurials. And I think Nike kind of hinted at this with the release of the limited edition Nike Mercurial Vapor Flyknit Ultra. That featured a Flyknit upper that in my opinion was kind of like a middle ground between what we have right now from the Vapor 11 and the Superfly 5. I really was impressed with it. If you guys want more opinions or you just want to see the shoes in action, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen to my playtest video. But I really think that Flyknit Ultra is better than both the Vapor and the current Superfly. I was really, really impressed with it. And again, if anything that we get from the next generation of Mercurial ends up being like the Flyknit Ultra, I think that we are on course to get a very, very good performance product. And again, I'm confident when Nike innovates, they generally tend to do a pretty good job, especially when we're talking about the Mercurial line. There have been some flops over the years, but I think the Mercurial line right now is one that they are really, really prioritizing to get 100% right because they have an excellent lineup of players. Obviously, the World Cup is coming up in 2018. That's probably when we're gonna see the launch of this next Mercurial line. And because you have Neymar, because you have Cristiano Ronaldo under the brand, both players arguably in their prime right now, that is really gonna be the perfect situation from a marketing standpoint for them to launch a brand new product. And again, I think it's just much easier for them to get the word out and to educate the general consumer if it's one name rather than a Vapor and a Superfly like they have right now, because generally the average consumer will automatically assume that whatever the most expensive one is, that's the best one, that's the one to have, which is obviously gonna hurt sales of the one below it. In this case, that would be the Vapor. So the fact that they might be eliminating the Vapor Superfly situation doesn't really surprise me all that much. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts and opinions on what Neymar is wearing in these pictures and what we can expect from the next generation of Mercurials based on what we've seen so far from a couple of blackouts. It's not a lot to go off of, but I think it does reveal quite a bit of useful information. Let me know your opinions. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as well. And of course, if you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. All my social media information, that's linked in the description as well. So follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook if you don't already. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.